Hello, everyone, and welcome to 31 Days of Halloween on the Calvin Camp Podcast, the podcast where we talk about everything spooky and chilling. I'm Calvin.
And I'm Anthony. And today we're starting off this fantastic season, and we have The Conjuring. So let's get into it.
All right, everyone, we've made it to October. It's spooky season, and you know what that means? We're going to do a very special thing on the Calvin Camp Podcast called 31 Days of Halloween, where every day of Halloween, or every day of Halloween, every day of October, we are going to release a new episode, 10 to 20 minute long review and episode breakdowns for some of our favorite horror movies. And we absolutely love what we've done. And what's also really awesome about this whole segment is this is our very first time on video.
Yes, this is our very first time on video. The cameras are rolling, and we have our set here, and you can see it. And we worked hard on it, and it's finally a reality. And we're actually doing video episodes, so we're pretty excited about this. Yeah, this is the first. This is our first video, and we're going for the stars with these next videos. We're doing them. We're doing this. We're doing videos.
It's crazy. Yeah. So every day of October, you're going to get to see our faces.
Yeah. And this is just phenomenal. We've come this far. We've been on this podcast for almost a year, and it's just great to do video now. And I'm glad we're actually starting to do it. So I'm stoked, Calvin.
Yeah, this is all extremely exciting. It's been a long time coming. We've talked about it forever, and it's here, and I'm happy.
Yeah, I am definitely happy.
So, let's get into it. We have, we want to make these episodes, like I said, around 10 to 20 minutes long. If it demands longer, then obviously we will go into it as long as we have to. So we got The Conjuring.
Yeah.
The Conjuring is our first pick for October. And there's just so much about this film to talk about. It is amazing. And we're not just talking about The Conjuring. We're talking about the Conjuring trilogy, specifically 1, 2, and 3. Not any of the spinoffs, not the Annabelle trilogy, not the Nun, not the Curse of La Llorona. We are condensing it just to the first 3 Conjuring films. So I have a lot of love for these movies. I've seen these movies several times. I don't know how many times you've watched these movies.
I've watched them a couple of times. I haven't watched them several times like you have, but I have watched them a couple of times.
Yeah. So for this episode, we're just going to touch base on some of the popularity of this franchise and some of the making of and the behind the scenes, just the cast, the crew, the direction. I hope that you enjoy what we have to bring. So let's give you a quick briefing on The Conjuring. The Conjuring franchise, it just all started with the first film. The Conjuring was directed by James Wan, who is a fantastic horror director, and he is probably just one of the best modern day horror directors in my personal opinion. The movie was directed it was made in 2013. And it was written by Chad Hayes, who is also a brilliant writer who has worked with James Wan throughout most of his career. This movie stars very incredible cast. Patrick Wilson, who plays Ed Warren, and Vera Farmiga, who plays Lorraine Warren. Incredible choices. They did fantastic in this movie. And as well as we had Lily Taylor and Ron Livingston, the guy from Office Space.
Yeah.
He has a very minor role in this film. I mean, it's major because he is the dad of the family, but it's minor because he doesn't do a whole lot. So
Yeah.
But yeah, the movie's about a pair of paranormal investigators who are sent to an old farmhouse that a new family has moved into to investigate some interesting experiences happening to them, and thus the story unfolds and does something much larger than it seems at first. So
yeah, and this is these paranormal investigators are actually Ed and Lorraine Moore, and these are real paranormal investigators that actually did this, and it was based off a true story, correct?
Loosely.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
loosely based off of a story. And so now when I say loosely, I mean like Ed and Lorraine, obviously, they were real people. They were real demonologists and paranormal investigators. But Hollywood does this thing where they say based off a true story, but it's never actually like really like it's loosely based off. There's like one or two elements of these real experiences that go into the movies. Other than that, it's just all Hollywood stuff. But it's really cool because the story of this farmhouse is the experience is a true story in itself. It's just all the stuff in the middle, in the guts of the movie that are made to be scary for the audience. So that's what I mean when it's basically loosely based off a true story. So, but first, before I get into that a little bit more, I want to talk about James Wan. Wan, like I said, he's one of the best modern directors of my time. And deep diving into some of the information on this movie, I didn't realize that James Wan is actually the person who not only wrote, but he directed Saw.
I was about to say, what other movies has he done besides the Conjuring movies?
Yeah, so he created Saw. It has a franchise now. It's huge. And he made another franchise that's really popular that came out right before The Conjuring, which was Insidious.
Oh, he's involved in the Insidious films.
Yeah,
okay.
So we kind of got the introduction of James Wan during Insidious, and like that was when I really like his name stood out for me. I was like, oh, James Wan knows his shit. Insidious is a really great movie, and it has some really great horror elements, and it also has Patrick Wilson in it. So he's the dad in that movie. And I just think that James Wan is just he has a really great way of producing like really scary horror elements, not just jump scares, but just like he's a master of suspense, and he just knows how to build the tension.
With his camera angles and cinematography, kind of like
with his
if you're
direction.
saying master of suspense, I'm thinking Alfred Hitchcock is the master of suspense.
Well, obviously, but like in modern horror, James Wan is like sitting at the top of the list. Like he is really, really incredible, and just especially with these movies. Like I don't know when's the last time you watched this movie, but I just recently started watching all of the movies on our 31 days list, and like rewatching The Conjuring was like, damn, this movie's really good. This movie is really solid, and it has really great pacing. One thing that I really like that James Wan does that is very unique, he has this really cool way of minimizing the amount of CGI used.
Yeah.
He really tries to not do it when not necessary. So he uses amazing location choices and great makeup artists to deliver some of the most intense scenes that we get, as well as like obviously working with the cinematographer on really narrowing down the sequences that occur during his shots and in these movies. And I just think that he is incredible at horror and knows how to make the audience feel immersed in this world. So, or in any world that he's creating. James Wan has done just really great work for all of these movies. So
if I can remember the scene in this movie, like I think it's I forgot the character's name, but Livingston plays him, dad. I remember he was like trying to find his wife, and he was emotional, like in there crawling around, and it was just so emotional at the very end of the movie.
Yeah, the last, like the third act of the movie is really crazy, and a lot of elements all just melding together pretty perfectly Now, let's see, the movie grossed over $319 million, and it only had a $20 million budget.
That's insane.
So he definitely made money for the studio. And like that was the worldwide budget. So obviously sequels were on their way because of the success of the first movie. So The Conjuring 2 came out later in 2016, which is my personal favorite of the trilogy. And for obvious reasons, I think that it's just the best and the scariest one of them all. And then later on, after like several other spin-offs like The Nun and the Annabelle series, we got the third movie, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, which came out in 2021 during COVID. And upon its release, it was released not only in theaters but also on streaming services, HBO Max, I'm pretty sure. So, and that's where I watched it. So now that we've talked about the Conjuring a little bit, and some of the success that comes from these movies, let's dive a little bit deeper into the story. Let's do like a review and breakdown section.
Okay.
So starting with The Conjuring, number one, it's already touched briefly on this film. It's incredible. I remember the moment that it was announced at San Diego Comic-Con. Everybody went crazy. They were like, "Oh my God, this is legitimately going to be one of the scariest movies ever made." And a lot was riding on James Wan at that moment in time, which with the success of Saw and the first Insidious movie being so popular, that seeing this, and they showed like a little clip during that Comic-Con that year, and everybody went crazy over it. So it was really it was really exciting for horror fans, and I was pleasantly surprised to see that it did indeed become one of the greatest horror movies of all time. So one of the key elements in a horror movie is not just the story and the scares, but it's the performance from the cast, obviously.
I most definitely agree.
And the cast of this movie is incredible, to say the least. So, like I was saying before, Patrick Wilson is he's one of my favorite actors, and he delivers so much to the character Ed Warren. He is a man who is just so deeply in love with his wife, and that really sits strongly with his character. And he also loves what he does as far as helping people through these crazy experiences. And it's cool that like not just everybody's haunted. A lot of the things that the Warrens did were go around debunking like things, being like, "Oh, you're not haunted. This is actually just like a messed up pipe in your house, yada yada yada, due to this, whatever." Like there were very few times where they actually did find actual hauntings where they used their knowledge and abilities to figure out how to
deal with this problem.
Yeah, how to deal with these problems. So, but yeah, he's just like such a helpful person. And Vera Farmiga as Lorraine Warren, she was just stunning, and her visions were super cool, and how it touched like on the supernatural aspect and how that plays a role in the investigation. Like when she's just walking through the farmhouse after they've been called out to it, she steps foot inside and she's like immediately like, "There's something wrong with this house." Like just through her natural abilities that she has. And she senses like the evil presence, and she is also so deeply in love with her husband, and they portray that love so well, like that it's such a beautiful, moving like piece to the entire puzzle of that movie. And that's one thing that I really love about these movies, is just how the connection in their relationship is just so, it's so moving and so strong. And it kind of like showing the family that connection as well, in this family trying to stay together through this experience. It just, there's so many things that just happen that make this movie amazing.
If I can remember, Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, they had really good chemistry playing these characters as well.
They did. Like they're wonderful. They're wonderful chemistry. I really felt like they were an actual couple. So, but let's see. Like Lily Taylor was also fantastic. You know, she combined with James Wan, James Wan's directing and her performance, I felt was so invested in her character. You know, she was a mother who was dealing with this new change, this new move, dealing with her daughters and her husband not being around because he's working to provide. And so she's just trying to like take care of everyone, just take care of the house. But then she's experiencing all of these crazy things at the same time, which makes her start to believe that she's going crazy. And maybe she starts taking medication because she thinks she has like an iron deficiency, and that's why she has so many bruises when she wakes up. But it's only till like later that we realize that she is in fact being harassed by an evil like spirit, like
an evil entity.
Yeah. So she does an incredible job, and it is really cool to see all of the stuff that she brings to the table as an actor, because her performance was also really, really invested in her character, and which made all of us, the viewers, like extremely invested in her story.
Yeah.
So, but this is what I mean by James Gunn's directing of these
James Wan.
James Wan. Gosh darn it. James Wan's directing of these actors in this movie really shows you like he is a master of the craft. He knows what he's doing. And there are certain sequences and shots in this movie that just make this film so memorable to me. There's one sequence in particular that I'm thinking of where Carolyn is outside hanging up sheets, and she like one of them blows away in the wind right behind her, and it like snaps to an invisible figure, and she like freaks out, and then the sheet flies up to against the like a glass window and then flies away, and behind it is that entity in the house, like, and just walks off camera, and you're just like, holy shit, that is like scary. Like this movie had really great eerie, scary moments. Another one was when she's locked in the basement, and she hears the voice say like, come on, let's play hide and clap. And then like you see like two hands come out of the darkness next to her ear and like clap. And that's just like, ooh, it's spooky.
It's very spooky and eerie.
It is. It's really spooky. Of course, there's also like the music box, where like Lorraine uses the music box to like look behind her, and she sees like one of the ghosts from the house, and that's scary. She also uses it to communicate with one of the victims of the house, a little boy. I remember those just being like really intense, memorable moments for me, as well as the whole intro sequence with Annabelle. We had the introduction of the very infamous Annabelle now, who was all during the opening sequence of this film, where the two roommates had a doll, threw it out, doll wouldn't go away. Lorraine and Ed had to come in and deal with it and realize that this doll is a conduit for evil spirits. So then they had to take it under their wing and put it in their house.
Yeah.
Which then later kind of creeped out and infected their daughter a little bit. So
yeah, there's I think I mentioned it to you before. There's that series on Sci-Fi, the Paranormal Witness series, and there's a lot of episodes where Ed and Lorraine Warren are featured in these episodes, and one of them happens to be The Conjuring.
Yeah,
I don't know if you watched that episode, but it's told in, like I said, it's told by the real people, and just the way, like I said, the way that those episodes are shot and the story foretold, that, you know, just the whole vision behind it is just, they're awesome. It's just, like I said, that show was just top tier, like for a paranormal show.
It is.
So they were on that show in several episodes and cases they did. So it was kind of cool.
It is cool. It's really cool because to hear that Lorraine and Ed were actually like who they are depicted as, that fact alone is just a really cool element. So even if like not everything in the movie is true, the basis of it are. Mm-hmm. So the second film in the Conjuring 2 delivered even more than the first movie. Like I said before, it's way scarier and honestly a way better story. And it's still touches on all of the bases that the first movie did as far as everything goes, but it just does it in a way that's so unique and different, and a lot of it's through the cinematography. It's like James Wan like really understood what he had made in the first movie, that he was like, okay, I've got this. This is going to be even better.
I'm going to take it to the next level kind of thing.
Yeah. So this time the film is taken to England, and where the Warrens must go to investigate a house where a little girl starts to hear and see some strange things that you would expect that this movie would have pretty much almost all of the same elements as the first one, like I said. And for the most part, it does. But what really makes it stand out is the amount of focus on the cinematography and the key elements in making this movie so different. I don't know why I repeated myself right there.
I was about to say, do Ed and Lorraine Warren, are they still replaced by the same actors, Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga?
They are.
Okay.
They are still the same actors, and it's their performances once again that really do a damn good job at like elevating this movie to the next level. Ed and Lorraine, not only is this movie scarier, but it also has more emotional aspects between Ed and Lorraine, and also between the family that is being affected in this movie as well. There's just a lot of James Wan really knows how to blend those kind of two things, like the connection between people and their humanity, like prevailing against the greater evil. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, it's really good. It's really good stuff. As far as the scares go, they have done an incredible job because everything is like meant to scare you in this movie. Like every scare is meant to scare you, not just like fake you out. Like it is scary. So, there's one scene in particular that is like my most favorite scene in the entire series, which is the first introduction of the nun. And that is one of the scariest things ever, dude. Like, the nun is just, Lorraine opens a door, the nun's just standing at the end of a hall. And then like you're just waiting for like a scare to happen, but the nun just like literally like turns and walks off camera. And you're just like, okay, where to go? And then it walks into the study, and Lorraine goes into the study and is just like looking around. And then all of a sudden, like all the lights turn off, and you just see the shadow of the nun on the wall, and it goes around the entire room before it gets to a picture, and the fingers come out from behind the picture, and then it runs out of the picture. It's like one of the scariest sequences ever.
Does it run out and like grab like this or something?
It runs out, like it grabs the picture, and because like Ed painted the nun.
Okay.
And so he hung it on his wall in the study, and so it goes behind the picture where it would be, and then just runs out of the, like with the picture out of the wall.
Oh, wow.
At her. It's so incredible. I don't know how they did it exactly, but it is just so good. Like, I love it so much. Scared the living shit out of me. But it's just like, it's these things that are amazing about this franchise. These things sit with you so much. There is another really cool aspect in this second one that has some kind of like claymation, which is interesting.
Like stop motion animation.
Yeah, like a stop motion animation. So there's this story called The Crooked Man, and it's one that the kids like sing and play out of like a music box thing. And the Crooked Man is supposed to like come. And so they make the Crooked Man a really scary thing, and it's like claymation almost, like when you finally get to see it. So there's supposed to be a spinoff for it, but it hasn't happened yet.
It just sounds so cool.
It is
to begin with already from
really
you
cool.
describing it just now. So
yeah, there's a lot of great scenes and a lot of great scares in this movie, and I'd easily put it in my like top 10 scariest movies of all time. Like for me, the third movie falls a little flat. I think that the performances are still there.
Is that the one that came out during COVID, right?
Yeah, that's the one that came out during COVID. This is the first one that is not directed by James Wan also.
Oh, okay.
And it's not written by Chad Hayes either. So it's like you can tell that their presence is missing, but Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga still deliver their wonderful experience as Ed and Lorraine.
Mm-hmm.
So they really are, they are their characters pretty much. So as far as the whole movie goes, though, it's okay. It has some of the greatest scares in the franchise. I'd say there's some really good ones. There's a couple. There's one with a waterbed that's really scary, where this boy is just like playing on his new bed. And
are they suspenseful scares or jump scares?
They're jump scares.
Okay.
They build suspense, but lead to jump. I don't know. I didn't resonate with the story as well as I did with the first two. So, it's still okay. It's about a boy who pretty much murders people, and then they lock him up and realize that he is being influenced by a cultist, and that is it's the first movie in the series that deals with an actual living person instead of an evil entity, more or less. I mean, she's just a witch, like a real life one. Yeah, I mean, it's good. It's good. It's just not. The first two just are perfect. There is a fourth one being made. I don't know if James Wan will return to direct it, but I'm still looking forward to it.
Yeah. It seems like the third one, from the way you've been describing it, is it basically lost James Wan's vision in the way it was portrayed.
Yeah, you could tell that like the absence of him is hurting it.
Okay.
So, but other than that, like despite that, there are really great elements in it. So it's not one that you should just not watch. It's still worth watching. Mm-hmm. It's just if I were to, I just think it's the weakest one.
Okay.
So I think it's the weakest one. So hopefully we get a better number 4 eventually. But I have a bunch of fun facts.
Okay.
About
hit us with the fun facts, Calvin.
So, fun facts about The Conjuring, number 1. Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga spent some time with the real-life Lorraine Warren before they filmed. In preparation for the film, they traveled to Connecticut and spent about 3 days at the Warrens' house. Both actors were blown away by their experience, and here's a quote by Vera Farmiga. "I just wanted to absorb her essence. I wanted to see the details. She has such a mad style. I just wanted to see the way that she communicates with her hands, these gestures, her smile, how she moves through space." Lorraine also visited the set during production as well.
That's cool.
So
I heard it at their house in Connecticut. They have like a bunch of stuff, like a bunch of stuff that has dark entities things.
The real life Annabelle.
I was about to say the real life Annabelle doll is there, I believe.
Yeah, the real life Annabelle doll, which is a Raggedy Ann doll, it's there. It's let's see. The Perrin family visited the set during filming also. So the original family members from the original Conjuring also visited the set.
That's cool. That's great that they had their involvement in that too, because they did in that one, like I said, in that one sci-fi Paranormal Witness episode. So that's really cool that they were involved in being there with the production.
When the movie was shown in the Philippines, some cinemas had to hire Catholic priests to bless the viewers before showing it. This was due to some viewers having reported a negative presence after watching the film. The priest also provided spiritual and psychological help for the viewers.
Oh wow!
So
that's pretty intense.
Staying into the levels, but like I have heard this before with these movies, and I believe that some similar things have happened to films like The Exorcist movies, also providing that kind of assistance as well. Because people just can't handle that shit. So,
well, some people can't just handle spiritual stuff in general.
Yeah.
So,
the remaining members of the Hodgson's family visited the set. Frances O'Connor, who portrays their late mother, refused to meet them as she feared it would affect their performance. So, that's pretty interesting.
That is interesting.
Let's see. On the first day of shooting The Conjuring 2, a priest was brought onto set to bless the set.
Oh man.
So
lots of spiritual entities and just things around.
I guess when you're trying to make things as realistic as possible in a realm that deals with that kind of thing, better to be safe than sorry, I guess.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's see. The opening scene in The Conjuring 2, where the Warrens are seen partaking in a seance in the Amityville whorehouse, Lorraine is seen wearing a trench coat and a skirt. Inspiration for the costume was taken from the real-life Lorraine Warren during a seance in the real-life Amityville case. She wore a replica of the outfit right down to the styling of her hair.
Wow. So that is freaking cool, actually.
Yeah, it's awesome. Let's see. When Ed Warren paints the picture of the nun, there are two sides of the dining room's wall where you can see two pieces of artwork with the name Volek, which is the nun, the demon that is the nun. Both are made by their daughter, one in the window and one on the other wall. So, just little Easter eggs there for Conjuring 2. A cinema. There was a cinema during The Conjuring 2 that had a poster with a warning on it. The warning said, "A warning: this film you're about to see is psychologically and emotionally disturbing. People who have attended early screenings of the film have complained about many unusual circumstances that they have experienced after seeing the film." And to support the theory, added on the poster was, "Due to our concern for your well-being, we have invited Father Perez to be here. He will be available after the film to provide spiritual support and or conduct a personal blessing. Should you feel the need, please do not hesitate to seek help. Ask a representative where you can sign up for a session with our priest."
Yeah, that just like you talked about before, it's
crazy.
It is crazy because some people just can't handle spiritual stories about spiritual beings or just entities in general.
So, I mean, the mind is a crazy thing, and it can make you do a lot of things. So,
yeah, it most certainly can.
Let's see. Just a fact: Lorraine Warren died at the age of 92 on April 18th of 2019. She had been a head consultant of the whole Conjuring project and an avid follower of the series. So, R.I.P. Lorraine Warren.
Yeah.
or the first movie in the series not directed by James Wan was The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It.
The third one, right?
Yeah, the third one. Sorry.
That's okay.
But it follows it follows the pattern that James Wan only does 2 movies before he's out. So he did it with Saw, he did it with Insidious, he's doing it with The Conjuring. Like 2 movies done. And yeah, so those are the fun facts that I have, and I just think that The Conjuring is one of the greatest horror movies in modern history. And I think that it just has so much to offer fans of horror. If you haven't seen it, you should really check it out. It's really great. I'd like to do a quick rating for this. I'd say the first movie is an easy 9 out of 10. And I'd say the second movie is also about a 9 out of 10 as well. Maybe if I were to, maybe like a 9.2.
Mm-hmm.
But the third movie, I'd have to say a 7. So,
okay.
Still good, just not as good. So, and I think it's just because it's not as good, it hurts it.
Yeah, and James Wan's not, directing this film, so you have that.
Yeah, so that's it, and I hope that The Conjuring 4 is great. I hope that we get Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga back again, as well as to see even some more spinoffs come out of this, because all in all, I really, really love the universe that they've built, and I am excited to see anything that stems from it. I just recently watched The Nun 2, and I enjoyed it, so I hope that there's more.
I mean, there's a reason why it's still doing great in the box office at the moment. So
yeah. So thank you everyone for joining us on day 1 of 31 Days of Halloween.
Thank you so much, everyone. We appreciate it. I mean, this is a day we've meant to get to at one point, and we wanted to make it special, and that's why we're doing the 31 Days of Halloween, because it's Halloween.
It's Halloween.
And it's October, and this is spooky season.
Spooky season.
And we love horror movies, so we have to do this.
It's just one of our favorite times. It's got the best movies, and it's got the best atmosphere seasonally, and it's just everybody's here together to experience this time of year, and it's just I love Halloween. I love Halloween. So but yeah, thank you all for watching, not listening.
Yeah, not listening. You're actually seeing us here.
We're actually
live
seeing us here
on our new set. So
thank you all very much. Have a good one. We'll see you tomorrow.
See ya. Good night.
Thank you all so much for watching the Calvin Cam podcast. Couldn't thank you enough now that we're started to do video. You can find us on all audio streaming platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music. We are also uploading to YouTube now that we're doing video, and it's really important that you hit that like and subscribe and join our YouTube community. Thank you all so much. Go over to patreon.com, join one of our tiers, become a patron, help us become bigger and better, and really support the channel. Thank you all so much for listening, and we'll catch you next time.